Hello everyone, this is the Nature and Lifestyle channel. My name is Mordecai. I'm your host today. So this channel was first known as Nature as It Is, and with Nature as It Is we were bringing you exclusive videos about nature, and it was mainly focused on zoos and wildlife conservation areas in and around UK. We thought it wise to make some few changes to the channel, and it's specifically to the content that we create. So, if today is your first time of watching us, please kindly subscribe to our channel. It's Nature and Lifestyle. You subscribe, you like our video if you enjoyed it, you comment and you share, you tell others about this channel. Help us grow this particular YouTube channel to a very high number. Thank you. Again, my name is Mordecai. Today we are going to learn about something. It's most often than not, we make the decision to migrate from our home country to another country without asking ourselves some questions, without anticipating what is going to happen. We are going to learn about some factors to consider before you migrate from your home country to another country. And this is not specific to a particular continent, it's specific to all over the world. Whether you are in North America moving to Africa, in Asia moving to Europe, in Africa moving to the Middle East, wherever you are, before you make that important decision to leave life behind, to leave everything behind, to leave your family, to leave the people you know, to move to another place, to either work, educate yourself for either tourism or anything. Before you travel, you have to consider these things that we are going to discuss today. Now, the first thing is language barrier. So yes, most of us are aware, before you travel, you are aware of the language barrier. You know certainly where I'm going, they don't speak the same language as where I am. Even if we speak the same international language, our accent may be different. So I'll give an example as if an Ivorian, somebody from Cote d'Ivoire, is traveling to France. Now both countries are French-speaking countries, but then the accent of the Ivorian is different from that of that French citizen. So in communicating, there might be some slight difficulty. Now this is not only to the French language, it's to all languages across the world. Whether English language, the Spanish language, the Russian or Chinese language, if two countries, people from two countries speak the same language, there might be some differences in the accent. So you have to be mindful of this. Now, if you go to work at a particular place, it's very important because sometimes how we pronounce some words in countries may be different from other countries. And our expressions, how we construct our sentences may be different. So you have to be mindful of this. So the first thing you have to know when migrating, before migrating, you have to be aware of this. Is language barrier. It's language barrier. Now, the next thing is about mannerism. How we behave. There are some behavior which are accepted in some countries, others are not accepted in other countries. So I'll give this nice example. So in Africa, in most African countries, let me put it like that, in most African countries, it is quite rude, it's quite disrespectful to call elderly people by their first name alone. So if somebody is called Kojo, if someone is called Uche, or if someone is called Imboma, and the person is older than you, please, you don't have to call the person by the Christian or the first name alone. It is very disrespectful. You have to add some titles, or you call the person according to how you relate to him or her. So example, we can call an elderly woman auntie or uncle or sister or brother, depending on the age difference. You can also add the person's title if you know. So doctor, then you add the surname, professor, pastor, you add the surname, or you can also call the person Mr. So Mr, you add the surname. But it is rude for you to call people by only their Christian name or their first names in some part of Africa. I know this is not the same when you come to Europe or Northern America or the other Western countries. It is quite accepted. It is accepted by the society for you to call elderly people by their first name in most parts of Europe. But that is not the same when you go to Africa. So be mindful of that. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the way we socialize, okay? The way we socialize. So how do you socialize in your home country? Some countries socialize by meeting to play games, and it could be all manner of games. It could be indoor, outdoor games. Others just walking their pets. Others to by meeting with friends to drink and smoke. Some people socialize by swimming. So we have different forms of socialization all across the world. So be mindful of this. How you socialize in your home country could be different from how the country that you are traveling to socializes. So be prepared to embrace other people's culture. Be prepared to learn how to socialize like other people. Yes, sometimes it's extreme. Like if you don't drink alcohol, then you don't necessarily have to go and drink alcohol in certain countries to socialize. That's not what I'm talking about. But mostly, what I want to say is when you travel, how you socialize in your home country, you may not get the same way of socializing in another country. So be mindful of this. Then the use of, I've spoken about language barrier. Let me chip in this example. Okay, so let me chip in this example. There was one time I traveled to the UK way back 2018. I remember speaking to this lady friend of mine. We've just met at work, and yes, we exchanged pleasantries. She became my friend, and we did chat a lot. So there was one time I wanted her to call me, and when she calls me, she shouldn't let me pick the call. She should hang up because I thought she doesn't have enough call credit on her phone. So I told her, call me, don't let me pick the call, hang up. Now that term in African country, we call it flash. Okay, so I told her, kindly flash me, and when I see the missed call, I will ring you back. Now, the word flashing in certain parts of UK can mean a whole different thing. So, whilst in some part of Africa, it means call me, don't let me pick the call, hang up, and when I see the missed call, I will ring you. In certain parts of UK, it means that open your dress or let someone see your nakedness for some few seconds and cover yourself up. Okay, so I told this lady to flash me, and her facial expression changed when I told her this. She thought I was telling her to remove her clothes for me to see how her nakedness, but no, I didn't mean that. I meant she should just ring me. Don't let me pick the call. Hang up and I will ring you back because you don't have enough call credit on your phone. She was quite annoyed, and I had to apologize to her. So there are different meaning of words depending on where you travel to. You have to research into this, and you have to be mindful of this. There are some words you use in some countries which are offensive. In other countries, they let it go. It's never offensive. So that is about language barrier. Now, another thing that you have to consider is prejudice and racism. Prejudice and racism. So, what happens most at times is in part of the world that is more multicultural. In part of the world that is more multicultural, the racism tends to be lower than in part of the world that is less multicultural. Okay, so you go to some countries that they are used to a lot of nationalities. Okay, so they don't tend to pay much attention to the color of your skin, to the language you speak, to the kind of clothes you wear. They don't pay much attention to that. But if you go to countries that are multicultural, they pay much attention to some details of life, okay? And some of their behavior can be racist. Now, just be mindful, racism is not only something that people say, even how people behave towards you can also show how racist what they are. So if you are traveling, and I will not be specific to one continent, this is all over the world, okay? Just know that there are racism all over the world. Depending on how multicultural a place is, they can be more racist or what, less racist. Okay, so just be mindful of this. Okay, now another thing you have to be mindful of when migrating from your home country to another country is how kids are raised. How kids are raised. Okay, now there can be differences how we relate to children across the world. In some part of the world, let me take this example of how we punish children. Now, in some part of the world, society accepts children to be spanked. Society accepts children to be given some few lashes when they go wrong, okay? But in other parts of the world, especially in Western countries, that is being frowned upon. That is not accepted. And in some countries, it's actually a crime for you to lash a child or cane a child. They do punish their children when they go wrong by grounding them. And when I say grounding them, it's mostly by denying the child of some specific thing that the child likes. So if if a child in a Western country does anything wrong, the parents can take the child's mobile phone from him or her, denying the child from watching a favorite TV program, or take something that is of more interest to the child from the child and tell the child to stay in his or her room for some minutes or sometimes hours. This is how in most Western countries they punish their children. But in other parts of the world, especially in most African countries, accept children being spanked or being lashed, okay, we do accept some bit of extreme form of punishment, okay. It's society do accept it. So if you are an African taking your children to a Western country, know how you relate to your children. Know that the police or the security agencies can get involved. Yes, it's your own child. You gave birth to the children, but then there are some rules that limit you as to how you can punish your own child when your child does anything wrong. So be mindful of this when traveling with your family. Now, another thing is isolation. I know it's good to make friends wherever you go, but sometimes the friends you make, you are more selective. Thus, you pick friends that are more used to the way of life that you live. Okay, so let me give this example. Let's say someone travels from Canada, migrates from Canada to any country in Africa. Let me be specific to, let's say, South Africa. Okay, so you travel from Canada to South Africa. Now, just be mindful that when you travel in the first few months or sometimes years, you may be isolated. You may be isolated in the sense that you've left your family behind, you've left your friends behind, you've left things that you are used to behind. So when you travel to a new country, you are now going to learn the way of life of people in the new country. I know the world is becoming more multicultural, so sometimes you travel to a different country and you find people from your home country that you can relate to. But in some countries, you will not find it. You have no choice than to embrace the culture of the place that you're going to. Some people are able to do this, others too are not able to do this, and they get more isolated. Okay, there are people who go to work and return home. They have almost zero social life. Okay, it's just work home, or they go to classes. They travel for purposes of education. They go to class, they return home, and almost no social life. So just remember that there may be the feeling of isolation when you travel from your home country to another country. And how you can deal with this is by learning the life of the people. If only you are prepared to learn, you can learn it and you can make some new friends. You can join community groups, you can join some social groups which will help you entertain yourself. So isolation is one of the main problems that migrants will face when they move from their home country to other countries. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, the last factor you have to consider, and guys, this is very important. It's about your visa conditions. We have so many type of visas depending on the country you are traveling to. Even in Europe, we have visas purposely for education. We have visas for visiting. We have people do travel to other countries with the mindset that they can do everything. No, it is not everything that you can do when you travel to another country. You can do anything as per what your visa allows you. So example, if it's a visiting visa, just know that your visa doesn't allow you to work. Okay, I know someone who has a visa that they have exempted her from sport relating work. Okay, so any work which is related to sport, football, swimming, boxing, anything, any work that's related to sports, she can't do those kind of work. But apart from that, she can do any type of work that she wants to do. So such a person, the person may think, yes, I have a visa that permits me to work, but it's not all kind of work that your visa will permit that. So just be mindful and look deep into what does my visa allow me to do when I travel. What are the terms and conditions in my visa? Okay, so you have to be mindful of this. Okay, thank you for watching us. We will bring you other videos. This is Nature and Lifestyle channel. Thank you for watching us.